Have you ever won an argument and somehow lost the person? Like you had the facts, you had the logic, you had the receipts, and yet somehow they walk away believing their side even more than they did before the argument. Congratulations, you just made your point but lost your audience. Here's the part that nobody tells you. The brain doesn't process a disagreement like a debate. It processes it like a threat. Emotion shows up to the fight long before logic can even put its shoes on. So the second that someone feels attacked, they're not thinking anymore, they're defending themselves. Today's principle is one that absolutely wrecks people, including myself, because it asks you to give up the one thing that you and I secretly love. And it's not nachos and cheese or ice cream. It's being right. And here's the twist. Giving that thing up is what will make people actually want to listen to you. Hey, I'm Mike Collins, and on this YouTube channel, we talk about personal finance and personal development. This is day 10 of my 30-day challenge of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And if you're new here, what I try to do is I try to take a principle each week from each chapter and apply it to real life with science. I can't believe that we have made it a third of the way through this series, and I couldn't have done it without you guys, so thank you so much. Whether or not you've been following along, the past few episodes have been about making people feel seen, making them feel heard. And today's principle is one that honestly undoes all of those things in 4 seconds flat if it's not done correctly. Carnegie has a line, and it's simple but brutal. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. The first time I read that, I thought, oh, that's cute. You don't live in the real world. Well, when was this written? Early 1900s? Somebody has to be right? And then it hit me. That's what everyone is thinking in every argument they have about you and about me. Let's be honest about why we argue. And it's really not even about the idea of the truth. It's about the feeling. You feel sharp, prepared, untouchable, almost like you have superpowers. Meanwhile, the other person is feeling a completely different set of emotions, embarrassed, confused, cornered, maybe even stupid. You may have won the round, but you lost a relationship. And that's really not a good trade-off. That's like winning a Yelp review, but losing the restaurant. Psychologists have a name for the first thing that we were discussing, and it's called belief perseverance. It's the tendency to keep holding on to a belief even after the evidence has been pulled out from underneath it. And this isn't a fringe idea. This goes back to Stanford in 1973. The research showed that people maintain beliefs even after being told the original information was false. Then there's the flashier cousin called the backfire effect. The idea that correcting someone can actually make the person believe the wrong thing even harder. Now here's where I have to be honest with you. The internet kind of oversold the idea of the backfire effect. The honest consensus is this right now, is that corrective information is important and it does help. The backfire effect is more rare than we give it credit for. But the identity piece is real and really well documented. So here's the mechanism that matters to you and to me. When someone feels their beliefs are challenged, the high amygdala activation is associated with reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of our brains. And stress hormones flood the system. The capacity for abstract thought and perspective taking actually decreases. So your brain isn't just protecting a fact, it's actually protecting yourself and your identity. So if accepting a fact or a point means I was foolish, the fact is no one's taking that deal. And not because they're irrational, but because they're human, like you and me. Carnegie talks about business leaders who, instead of proving their customers wrong, actually do something really simple. They asked questions, they listened. They let the other person's view land first before they even attempt to defend themselves. And the real wild part is people didn't feel defeated when they did this. They actually felt respected. The fact is that respected people change their own minds. People are far more receptive to challenging information when the first step is they feel respected. So the fact is that building rapport with someone actually matters more than what we think it does, especially when providing conflicting evidence. Defeated people just wait for round 2. Now here's the part you guys have all been waiting for, the real world test. I really tried to challenge myself this week. Every time I would feel the word actually rising up in my throat, I had to stop myself, which was a lot more difficult than you think. So instead of saying actually, I tried to ask the question, well, what makes you think that? That's it, 5 words. They're free, no app required, no subscription. And the truth is, most of my conversations, the temperature dropped. The pressure was taken off. And people would relax with me when I approached it that way. Now, my tone of voice did actually matter, though. I'm not going to lie. Because you could ask the question, well, what makes you think that? And that still sounds super passive-aggressive. And here's what's interesting. They would try to explain themselves out loud. And as they would begin to explain themselves, one of two things would happen. They would either stop themselves mid-sentence and realize whatever they were trying to say didn't really make sense out loud, or the fact is they really couldn't even explain their point of view. They were dying on a hill without any evidence. And I didn't have to do anything. So it turns out people can actually talk themselves out of a bad idea faster than you can argue them out of it. The next time that you disagree with someone, and it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, don't open up with why they're wrong. Open with a simple question. What makes you think that? And listen. Actually listen. That's the other part of this. Now here's the thing. You might disagree with them when they finish, and that's okay. You're allowed to. But now the conversation actually happens between two people that feel respected, instead of two people trying to protect their ego. The goal isn't to win. The goal is to leave the relationship stronger than you found it. And those two things are almost never achieved at the same time in any argument. If you want to change someone's mind, make that person feel understood and respected before you try convincing them. Understanding is the door. Facts are only useful once it's open. That's day 10. And honestly, it feels like this chapter was written specifically for 2026, if I'm being honest. And it's not because everyone else is wrong, but because everyone else is so committed to trying to prove that they're right that they're not willing to listen or even acknowledge that they could be wrong. If you like this video, please click the like button and hit subscribe for future content. Thank you so much, guys, for following along, and I'll see you on day 11. Stay consistent out there.